Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'll be showing you guys how to draft a simple bustier top with a stylish keyhole yoke. It's a very simple tutorial and very beginners friendly. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. So we'll be drafting out the front panel first. I have my pattern paper here already and it's in a fold of 2. It's in a fold as you can see. So that is the closed angle. So I folded this pattern paper using my round hip measurements divided by 4, which is 11.5 inches, and I added 2 extra inches to it, making 13.5 inches on fold. So I've gone ahead to mark my basic vertical measurements on this paper. So I'll just show you guys how I came about it. So the first line there is my shoulder line. So from my shoulder line to my bust point is 10 inches. And to my under bust point is 13.5 inches. Then to my high waist measurement is 16 inches, and then to the full length of my top is 20 inches. So the remaining space there is for folding at the base. So let's just go ahead and label the lines together. So the first line is your shoulder line, the second line is the bust line, the under bust, the waistline, and the last one is the full length of the top. The next thing we want to do is to place our shoulder to shoulder measurement on the shoulder line. So from the closed angle, measure your shoulder to shoulder measurement and divide it by 2. For me, I have 8 inches. But note that if you're going to be adding sleeve to this top, you can make use of your exact shoulder to shoulder measurement divided by 2. But if it's going to be a sleeveless top, please subtract 1 inch from it. So from that point, I'll come down by my round armhole measurements divided by 2. For me, I have 9 inches. So I'll go ahead and just connect the 2 points together. And then I'll extend the line this way. So the next thing to do now is to mark our shoulder slope. So I'll come over to the armhole point, the armhole line, and I'll come down by 1 inch. I'll take 1 inch this way. And then I'll use my ruler to form a slant, connecting that 1 inch point to meet my shoulder line, just as you can see me doing. So to get our armhole curve, I'll come over to this line now and take the center point. So the center point will be about 4 inches. So I'll mark my 4 inch there. And from that 4 inch mark, I'll come in by 0.5 inches. And then on this chest line, I'm going to take my round bust measurements divided by 4, which is 10.5 inches. So right now, I'll take my curved ruler and just connect the 3 points together. Connect those 3 points together to form my armhole curve. So after connecting the 3 points together, this is what you should have. After marking out the armhole curve, the next thing is to move to the neckline. So for the wideness of my neckline, I'll be making use of 5 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark 5 inches on the shoulder line. And then for the depth of my neckline, I'm going to first of all determine where I want my yoke to stop. So that is going to determine how deep my neckline is going to be. So I'll just take my tape rule and place it on my shoulder line to determine where I want my yoke. So I want my yoke to stop 7.5 inches from my shoulder line. So I'm going ahead to mark it there. And then I'll just extend the line to meet my armhole curve this way. So after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is determine the space I want between my yoke. So from my thumbnail, you can see that the yoke has a bit of space in between it. So I'm making use of 0.5 inches. So by the time I open up my paper, I'll have 1 inch between each yoke. So I'll go ahead and connect it to meet my neckline width. So I'll connect my neckline width to meet the 0.5 inches mark. So this is what the neckline looks like after connecting. After marking out the neckline, the next thing we want to do is to place our dart measurements. So your dart measurement is your nipple to nipple measurement divided by 2. So for me, I have 4 inches. So I'll go over to all the vertical lines now and just place 4 inches from the closed angle of my paper. So I'll just mark 4 inches on all the lines this way. And then I'll take my ruler and connect all the points together. So I'll come over now to the under bust line and take 1 inch on both sides of the line. And then on the full length of my top, I'll take half an inch on both sides of the line. I'll take my ruler now and connect the points to meet each other. I'll connect it this way. So this is what we have after connecting. And then I'll come over to my bust line and come down by 1 inch. And then I'll use my curved ruler to just connect the points this way, just as you can see me doing in the video. I'll form a curve this way just to bring out the bustier effect. Just connect it. So after connecting, this is so on this point where my yoke is going to stop, I'm going to go ahead and mark out half an inch on both sides of the line. So I'll just take half an inch on both sides of the line, and then I'll use my curved ruler to connect it to meet my bust line. I'll connect it to meet my bust line this way, and then I'll connect the other side. So after connecting our darts, this is what it looks like. This is what you should have as well. So right now we want to move over to the keyhole yoke or the upper part. So watch closely what I'm going to be doing here. So the first thing we want to do is to determine the space between the keyhole yoke. So from my neckline, I'm going to come in by 2 inches on this closed angle, and then on the other side I will take 1 inch from the dart. I hope you guys can see what I did. From the shoulder slope, I'm just going to determine where I want my keyhole design to stop. So I'll be coming down by 3.5 inches from the shoulder slope line. So what I'm going to do now is going to connect it to meet the 1 inch I marked on my yoke line this way. And then on the other side, the other point I marked, I'm just going to slant it now to meet the line, forming my keyhole design. So guys, this is it. This is all you need for the keyhole design on the yoke. So before we mark our round body measurements, I'm going to just go ahead and extend the armhole point. So remember that we have a dart on this key on the yoke line. So that it won't truncate the size of our armhole, I'm going to go ahead and extend my armhole by whatever I have inside the dart. So I have 1 inch there. So I'll come over to the line and just extend my armhole point this way. I hope you guys understand what I'm doing. So that by the time we close up the darts on the chest line, it won't affect the armhole measurements. So I just take my curved ruler and curve it out. So when we are cutting out, we will not be cutting the old armhole. Let me just cross it out. We won't be making use of that one anymore. We're making use of the new one I just drafted out. So the next thing now is to mark our round body measurement on the pattern paper. On the bust line, go ahead and mark your round bust measurements divided by 4. So for me, I have 10.5 inches, and I'll be adding 1.5 inches for seam allowance. That is 12 inches. So I'll mark 12 inches on my bust line. And then I'll do the same thing for the remaining parts. The underbust point, I'll mark my round underbust measurement, and then I'll add my 2 inches dart that I have there, and I'll also add my seam allowance of 1.5 inches, and then I'll mark the point there. So I'll come over now to the waistline. I have the same measurement with my underbust, so I'm going ahead to place it there. So I'll come over now to the full length of my top and place my round hip measurement divided by 4. And then I'll add my darts that I have there, 1 inch, and I'll add my seam allowance to it and just mark it out. So right now I'll take my ruler and just connect all the points together. So I'll just use my curved ruler to blend in the pointy edge on the waistline. So this is basically all for the front part of our top. So the next thing to do is to cut it out. So I'll start cutting from the lower part of my top. So I'll be cutting out the new armhole, as you can see, and then I'll separate it from the yoke. So I'll go ahead now to open up the darts. I'll open it up for the other side as well. And then I'll go ahead to cut out my yoke open, just as you can see me doing. Then I'll open up the keyhole. After cutting out, this is what we have. So I'll just go ahead and open it up for you guys to see. So this is the center front and these are the sides. These are the sides. And then this is the yoke. So just go ahead and place it this way. So remember, our yoke has about 1 inch gap between them. So when you are joining your fabrics, don't forget to take note of that. So this is what it looks like. So right now, I'll set this front pieces aside, and then I'll show you guys how to draft out the back panel. So guys, for the back panel, I'm gonna have to mark out my basic vertical measurements, just like I did with the front panel. So the first line is the shoulder line, the second line is the bust line, and then the third line is my waistline, and then the full length of my top. So on the shoulder line, I'll place my shoulder to shoulder measurements divided by 2, which is 8 inches. So I also went ahead to take out my zipper allowance on the closed edge of my fabric. As you can see, my fabric is in a fold of 2, so that is the center back, the closed angle. So on my shoulder line, I'll mark my shoulder to shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 8 inches. Don't forget to subtract 1 inch from it if it's going to be a sleeveless top. So I'll come down on my round armhole measurements divided by 2, which is 9 inches. And then I'll extend the lines. I'll join the lines together first. I'll join the 2 points together this way. And then I'll extend the line. So the next thing to do is to form our armhole curve. So I'll come over to the armhole line and just come down by 1 inch. This is to form my shoulder slope, just like we did with the front panel, and I'll connect it to meet my shoulder line. And then, so I'll go over to the chest line, and then I'll mark my round butt measurement divided by 4, which is 10.5 inches. And then I'll look for the midpoint of this line, 4 inches, and then I'll connect the points together using my curved ruler. So I'll just use my curved ruler to connect my armhole curve. So this is what we have. So for the neckline, I'll be making use of a V-neck line at the back as well. So I'll be maintaining the same neck width, which is 5 inches. And for the depth of the back neckline, I'll be working with 8 inches because I want the neckline to be deep at the back. So I'll mark 8 inches there, and then I'll connect it using my ruler, forming my V-shaped neckline. So this is what I have. I'll just extend it to my zipper points this way. So the next thing to do is to mark out our darts. So for the dart, I'll be placing my nipple measurements divided by 2, which is 4, just like I did for the front panel. So I'm taking this measurement from my zipper line, not before the zipper line. So after marking, I'll go ahead and just connect all the points together. And then from the full length of my top, the line there, I'm going to take 0.5 inches on both sides. And then I'll use my ruler to connect this point to meet my bust point, my bust line. So just connect it this way. So this is what you should have after connecting the points together. So the next thing is to mark my round. So I'll be taking my body measurement from the zipper line, not after the zipper line. So on my bust line, I'll place my tape rule this way and take my round bust measurements divided by 4, which is 10.5 inches, and I'll add 1.5 inches for seam allowance. I'll go over to the waistline, take my round bust measurements divided by 4, and then I'll add the dart I have there and add my seam allowance to it as well. And on the hip, on the full length of my top, I'll take my hip measurements divided by 4 plus my 1 inch dart and my seam allowance. So I have 13.5 inches. So right now, take my ruler and just connect all the points together. So I'll just use my curved ruler to smoothen it out on that point. The next thing I want to do now is to cut out the pattern. So I'll just go ahead and cut out my back panel. So I'll just rip the center back open for my zip, and then I'll form notch on my dart point, so that when I'm cutting on my fabric, I'll know where my dart point is supposed to be. So this is what, so I've gone ahead to use my patterns to cut out my fabric. These are the front panels, this is the yoke. So I added I have two pieces of each, because I will turn it over with the same fabric, but I'll be using lining pieces for the lower part. So these are the center, front, and the side. So I added half an inch to all the sides because of joining, to join my dart points together so that it won't truncate my size. And I also added at the top so that when I'm attaching my yoke to it as well, it won't truncate the length of my top. So I have also cut out the back panels. This is it. So in my next video, guys, I will show you guys how to join these pieces of fabrics together to make the bustier top. So don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.